Recorded live from the mats of Radical MMA in New York City. The Martial Culture Podcast. Your source for in-depth combat sports and martial arts insights with Coach Rene and Matt Peters. Ring the bell and let's get it on.
Do you know the Misogi? That ninja thing?
I know what you're doing. The ninja
yeah, the ninja. Should we have not talked yet?
We can talk.
I'm sorry.
You're allowed to speak.
We were just flashing ninja gang signs to each other.
That's good. It makes it sound like we're having a good time before the podcast started.
Yeah, no, we were having
We pretended really well.
Yeah. Having a good time.
We were singing.
Yeah.
Can you mute Rene real quick? Just leave him on mute the entire time.
You don't like my singing? You're like my wife. My wife, when I was singing Adele, the Adele song, she's like, if you continue, I will divorce you. Like, I got to that point. She's like, do not sing.
I'm going to need to hear the Adele.
No, you know, in
Which one? Go
Japan,
ahead.
karaoke is like super, super, super popular. And I lived in Japan for 6 years and, had a lot of Japanese friends and all they're like, Rene, let's go to karaoke. And then I have never had one friend invite me back.
I would have you invite you to karaoke, and I haven't gone in a very long time.
Yeah. It's I'm just the worst singer ever. They're like, and then I'll be like, "How you guys want to go karaoke?" And she's like, "No. We'll go somewhere else, but we never want to hear you sing again."
My Instagram is about to be popping. This is gonna be great. I only want you to sing.
Only want me to sing? I'll sing. I'll sing.
No, what are you doing? Do you ever want to come back here? It's your first time here. But we should introduce the voice.
Yes. The person we're talking to, Matt. Please do the honors.
Champion fighter, right? You're killing it.
Yeah,
with some wins at times.
Most wins.
I'm going to pronounce your name wrong. Yorrick?
No, you nailed it.
That's
what I'm talking about.
High five.
First try.
Thank you.
Yorrick
Thank you for
Anderson,
coming
yes.
to the show.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot about you, and Rene talks about you proudly all the time.
No, you can't see me, but I'm blushing right now.
But you recently had a fight a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Came out with the W.
Yeah, and it was not just a win; it was quite a stylish win. I never saw so many side kicks to the midsection in one fight. I mean, it was like he broke out the Matrix. All you needed was a black coat and some sunglasses.
Yeah, I tried. They made me take it off.
They made you take it off. No, but okay. So we have to actually. This is a terrible, terrible thing that happened, and I have to take full responsibility. This is like the worst thing that can ever happen in a fight. So we're training hard. The camp was amazing, although we had some injuries and some things. But I mean, the camp was going great. The weight cut, it went all right. Everything was good. He's feeling great. His hydration, everything's good. We're in the ring working out, and I'm like, go feel out the ring. You and G, go in and feel out the ring. Make sure you feel comfortable with it, because sometimes the floor of the ring is not you have to feel it a little bit. So he goes in the ring, and we're kind of fooling around, and I'm like joking around, and G's doing some kung fu poses and this and that, and then you tell him what happens.
Okay, so there I am, minding my own business. I'm again feeling out the cage, just seeing if it's slippery anywhere. It's like me, G, and this other guy in there, and I'm used to having multiple people in there shadowboxing because everybody wants to feel it out the same way. I go to talk to Rene. I'm standing by the fence, and all of a sudden, it's just like somebody slapped me in the back, like boom, in the back of the head. This kid spinning hook kicked me straight. I was so confused and mad at the same time. I was like, I don't know what just happened, but God.
And I mean, he really kicked him incredibly hard.
Wow.
I mean, this is before the fight, and the worst thing to ever happen, like, oh, I didn't fight because I got knocked out.
This is like off of the 2 injuries beforehand. I was like, yo, we finally made it. We did it. And then like that would have been the weirdest pullout of all time. So no. He got here. He made weight. He showed up the event, and then he got knocked out beforehand.
Camp was
good though. Camp was fun.
There was that guy in the UFC. I forgot his name, but he was walking out to his fight, and a fire extinguisher fell and hit him on the head. This is years ago.
That's an act of God at that point.
I know, right? It didn't hit him directly, but it hit him enough where he really got hurt, and then he couldn't fight. I'm like, wow, that's just terrible. Like
when they like fight and they thank God for the victory, the other guy that's the most appropropriate time to have ever done that.
Thank God a fire extinguisher didn't. But I felt terrible because I should have been paying. He came over to talk to me a little bit, and this guy does this spinning, hook it, boom, and I'm like, oh my God! Now I was outside of the cage.
He was outside filming. He's like, world star.
Yeah,
there you go. That would have been great.
And then actually the cool guy's coach runs in. He's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Taking Portuguese. I don't speak Portuguese, but I understand it. And he's like chewing him out. And the guys felt really bad too, even though like it was bad. And then Yorrick was like, he didn't hit me hard. And I'm like, And you could tell that he was like samuraiing it up, but he got hit hard. And then after the fight, he's like, yeah, I think he gave me a little bit of a concussion. I'm like, oh my God, please next time just tell me.
Wow.
But like it was a terrible stuff.
At least give you a couple points.
Yeah, right. That was actually the hardest hit I took all night, though.
Yeah, no, he didn't. He grazed you once, and I was like,
Got to sneak up on me.
Yeah.
Was it at least a nice kick? Because I didn't see it.
It was actually a very nice.
All I
kick.
saw.
How did it feel?
Yeah.
All I saw was.
Did it feel nice?
Did not feel great.
No.
I was the guy was hugging me and apologizing afterwards, and I was really angry, but also still confused. Like I didn't know what happened. Like somebody could have ran up and slapped me.
Yeah, it's funny because when you're pissed, the last thing you want them to do is hug you. And you're just you just want to say like, get away, bro.
from me.
Yeah. But they're trying to be like nice to you. At the same time, you're like, don't fucking hug me. I
don't know how I probably would have reacted the same way. I would have been like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. No,
Hey.
yeah. And he was really apologetic. His coach apologized to me like 20 times. You walked away and he's like, I'm very sorry. And I'm like, sin problema.
Taking to the People's Court.
People's Court. Dun, dun.
Nice,
Oh, no,
nice.
that's Law and Order. Sorry, I got the wrong. I don't know
like
how People's Court goes.
I can't remember that. It's so iconic though. But
Yeah,
I can't
yeah,
remember.
yeah.
I can't remember much before the kick, to be honest.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what was let's before we go into your background and everything, just tell us about your recollection of the fight and coming up to the fight, the camp. This is a kind of a bad part of that camp, but I mean I remember guys, our listeners are always asking me about fighting, and then what I wanted the listeners to get is a sense of what it's like to come up through the ranks as an amateur. And then I'd like Yorrick to come on when he goes pro and to see the growth of him as a great fighter. And you're already a world champion. Actually, people don't realize that when Yorrick's fighting, he's actually a Sanda world champion. And that was, what year did you win the world championships?
2016 or 17?
16? Oh, yeah.
16,
Okay, 16.
17.
All right. Yeah, and so that's amazing. And one of your coaches, Max Chen, was actually at the Beijing Olympics when Sanda was a spectator sport. Not spectator, a demonstration sport, right?
Exhibition?
Exhibition sport, yes, thank you. And but you have that Sanda background from Professor Ken and also Max, and also Muay Thai and kickboxing as well. But you decided to move into MMA. What made you wanna transition over from striking to full on MMA?
Even when I was like only fighting under like kickboxing or Muay Thai rules, I only watched MMA. Like it was, I don't know, it was very boring for me to watch Muay Thai fights. And there are like very beautiful like Muay Thai fights out there. There's great fights, great glory fights, but it wasn't something that I followed. Like I wasn't like, oh, I gotta go.
No, I
Watch glory this weekend.
Yeah, right. Right.
It just got to a point where you're kind of seeing the same stuff over and over. And again, that's not to say it's all like that, but most of the time it's very similar fights.
No, I agree with you. It's the same thing with every one single dimension art. There's nothing wrong with it. Like Kyokushin, K1 glory style rules, which don't allow clinch, regular Muay Thai rules, sport jiu-jitsu or judo. What happens is because you've restricted what is possible, people, it's just refining what is already there. There's evolution for sure, but it's like who can do what we already know the best. And that's kind of what boxing is too. And it's like it's rare to see a Lomachenko. It's much more to see someone like Anthony Ruiz, who just is a really good journeyman. Like he doesn't do anything new. Nothing wrong with that, but it's not something we've seen before. We've always seen it before. And the same thing with Glory, the same thing with Enrico Verhoeven or what's his name? Nikki Holtzkeen, or these guys are amazing, but it's who can do what we already know the best. It's, I think, how it is. Where MMA, you're like, what? How do you put those, it's still growing. It's still evolving. It's still, there's still room for excitement. And also, everybody moves so differently.
Yeah.
Even if like you look at Wonder Boy and then you look at John Jones, and they're like, there's very little overlap in how they move, even though they're trying to do the same things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's fascinating. I totally agree with you. I personally, while I really respect sport jiu-jitsu, and I do have to watch it for sometimes research purposes, it's never something that I enjoy watching. Whereas I always enjoy watching MMA, even when it's not.
Not the best.
Yeah.
I don't know. I enjoy like just the practice of it a lot more as well. Like my style, like striking, doing like Muay Thai, like I never really trained or fought with like a Muay Thai style. I was always a little more mobile. A lot of people thought I was a karate fighter, but for the record, again, never done karate in my life. But just I always kind of like accentuated, like me and my coaches accentuated like movement more than like standing and banging, right?
Yeah.
So much more applicable in MMA, but also there's no corners for me to get stuck so I can be on my bike all night.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just more exciting for me, more variables, more like different places for me to like express myself through fucking people up.
Exactly. And, it's funny you're making a joke, but expressing yourself is exactly like, why would you want to paint in one color?
When
that's to
paint
me.
with your feet on people's face.
That's like that guy who's handicapped where he paints with his feet. No?
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's actually pretty inspiring. He paints with his feet.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's amazing. The cat's amazing, but he doesn't have hands.
Huh.
He has no hands, so he paints. You're
Is
like
it better
that
than
guy.
I could do?
Yeah, it's a lot better.
It's a lot
Yeah,
better.
it's actually really good.
Are you saying I don't have hands? Is that what you're saying?
How
Well,
do
you
hold
didn't
the
drop
brush?
the guy.
I've worked damn hard on my boxing.
Where's the brush
No.
go?
No, is it in between? It's like he holds the brush like chopsticks.
Yo, I
Between
straight
his
thought you said. I thought you were saying that he was like finger painting, but with his toes. I misunderstood entirely.
No,
You actually brush paint.
yeah, no, but I think sometimes he does finger paint with his toes too. Like he touches up with but mostly he has a brush between.
Toes get no respect. He's doing it with his toes. We're still calling it finger painting.
This is now an art podcast. Let's dissect this.
I'm gonna look at that guy's
The
name,
Art
sorry.
Culture Podcast.
Miles, bring it up.
But yeah. So when did you officially start training martial arts?
All right. So the full story is I used to be a competitive swimmer for like my whole childhood. I never like tried at it. Like I would try in the race, but at that point I didn't know that you were supposed to try and like practice as well. So I would show up practice and be like, yeah, my mom said I had to be here, and I would like swim, and then at races I would like try to go as fast as I could, but like that don't really pan out like that.
No. Yeah.
So when I stopped swimming, I started getting fat because I didn't know what a calorie was. So I was just swimming like 6-7 miles a night and just eating everything,
like whatever you want. Yeah.
So I was like, oh man, I got to go find something to do to keep busy. So a friend of mine was doing like Steven Seagal Japanese jiu-jitsu type stuff.
Right. I remember you said you started in Japanese jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
So I went up there and like,
this is upstate New York, right?
Yeah, it was upstate New York.
Where you grew up.
At a local like community center. Like, it was a back room that we were using for free. And like everybody, the guy who was teaching is this big, giant, like 200-pound guy with no neck. And he was like, yeah, just grab the wrist and they go flying. It's easy. So I was like, all right, bet. So I go in and I met this guy on the first night there, and I saw him like shadowboxing and moving around. He's actually my brother-in-law now, but I saw him shadowboxing and moving around. I was like, this guy looks like he knows what he's doing. So I was like, hey man, can you teach me how to kick people in the face? And he was like, oh yeah, right on. So he's teaching me how to kick people in the face. He started coming. He's like, no, we're not gonna do that yet. We're gonna do these wrist locks and stuff. Like you just catch the punch that goes by you. It's like, all right, did that for a little bit, and then the instructor got in a fight, and he was telling us about it. And he's like, yeah, these two guys, I fucked them both up. And I'm sitting there. I was like, right on, man. You wrist lock him? And he's like, nah, I just punched him. And I was like, cool, but like, why didn't you wrist lock him? He's like, I didn't need to. I just punched him. So I was like, shit, I need to get good at punching stuff. So after that, me and the guy, his name is Mike Lung. He really helped me like discover martial arts. We started kind of like bopping around, trying different things out. But it was like very much like a hobby type thing. Like It was not at all like,
And this is when you were in high school or?
No, I think I was 18 at the time. Yeah.
And you still lived up
yeah, I still lived upstate.
Yeah.
So
what town you're from? Not Poughkeepsie. Where are you from?
Near I'm from the sunny town of Saugerties, New York.
Saugerties.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's actually a beautiful area.
Yeah, which is weird for me to hear because when I grew up, it was like squirrels and like heroin. I was like,
were the squirrels on heroin?
Oh yeah, they definitely were. You did not want to fuck with those squirrels. They were like the size of raccoons, and they were
actually. It's funny.
They were itching.
No, it's funny because I remember in the 80s, Washington Square Park was filled with drug users and drug sellers, and
aggressive squirrels.
And squirrels would be licking out the crack and the meth from the discarded bottles, the little cans. And you just see cracked out squirrels all the time.
Man.
And you'd see them on in delirium tremens from withdrawal all the time. You're like, wow, that squirrel's on withdrawal. That's like the pizza rat is like nothing compared to what we saw in the 80s. But anyway, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt, but that brings me back to my crack squirrels.
Jones and squirrels.
Yeah.
Come on, man. I'm good for it. Give me some nuts.
Give me the real nuts. Give me the real nuts.
But yeah, so we kind of bopped around. I tried like different things out. Like there was one hilarious like month where we were trying to do like Kenpo karate classes. Oh shit, I have done karate for like 2 minutes.
Oh my god!
Damn it, I'm a liar.
You're a liar.
But it was like online. Like you like the guy was like, yeah, give me money and here's a videotape on how to do like these 5 moves and then you send it back and I'll give you a yellow belt. And we were like, that sounds legit. So we're doing that, and at this time GSP was still champ, I believe.
Yeah.
So I started watching MMA and I was like, yo, this guy's crazy. Like watching him just jab people up and like just
inspiring.
The way he moved, I was like, this is nothing like what I'm doing. Like it's way more dynamic. Like I feel like you can't just stand there in a fight. Mm-hmm. So I started looking into like more like, street fighting type stuff. So I did a little bit of like Jeet Kune Do. Mm-hmm. Did that for a little bit, and then I moved to I made the smart decision because I was like, man, I really hate it up here. Let me take all my no money and move to New York City where things are cheaper, and surely I'll be able to find. So.
And where you're from, upstate too? Rochester. Yeah.
A bit. Yeah. Less squirrels.
Never made my way to Socrates. No.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah, they're actually not far from me. They're far from each other quite a bit. Right?
A little bit.
Yeah,
like 4 hours.
It's close to Albany, right?
Yeah.
It's like an hour south. Yeah.
And we're close to Buffalo.
We're a geography podcast now.
It keeps switching.
Geographical culture. play it, Miles.
New York, right?
Come on, Miles.
I'm telling you, where's Raul? I'm saying.
Yeah, where's Raul?
Raul
we want Raul.
Yeah, Raul's our favorite sound manager.
He'd be coming up with these songs on the fly.
He'd sing it for us.
So anyway, moved to New York, and the same guy, Mike Long, he would like come
he moved
down
with you.
He didn't move with me. He still lived up there, but he would come down on the weekends every once in a while. And so he used to like drive way too fast, so he would get here in like half an hour from like a 2.5 hour trip. It was cool, like just like because I would ride down with him a lot and just go limp the whole time. I was like, yo, if we die, we die. It's fine. Better than hanging out up there. So he would drive down, and then one night he hits me up and he's like, hey, there's this Muay Thai meetup in the park. Do you want to go check it out? And I was like, yeah, it's Wednesday. I got nothing to do. So I went there, and that's when I met my coach, Ken. He's teaching.
It's so weird.
It's very weird. Yeah.
And Ken doesn't listen to the podcast, really. Sorry, I know he doesn't.
Oh, he'll listen to this one.
But I'll
play it for him.
Such. I say all the time how much tremendous respect I have. He is such an amazing coach and such a huge fount of knowledge. I've never met anyone like him who I respect so much for regular striking, of course, but for MMA striking and for his immensely innovative approach. And to meet a guy like that in the park, you hit the lottery.
Oh, I know. He's genuinely a genius. Like he's the kind of guy, like I know people who like take hours out of their day to like study a fight and like be like, oh, I came up a new way. Like that's how you throw the jab. Ken will be like coming to me and he'll be like, so I was in the shower yesterday and I came up with this thing. I thought it would work great for you. And that's my Ken impression that everybody does. It's like I was in the shower the other day and I came up with this move. I thought it would be great. And I was like, all right, yeah, show me. And like I'll try it in sparring. I'll be like, this is practically magic. But he's also the kind of guy who will study hours and hours. Like he'll find like a 52 blocks like VHS and like watch the whole thing and be like, yeah, it was trash, but I did find this one thing. And like, that'll be like part of the system now. Oh. So I met Ken in the park, and at that time it had like a CrossFit leg to it as well. Cause again, he was opening a gym where it was like MMA and like CrossFit. So he was like trying to basically like get hype going for the gym and like just get people interested. So we went, and me and my buddy, like just blown away, like by the way Ken taught, like he explained everything. He explained, like, again, I didn't know shit about fighting at the time, but the way he explained it was like that 100% makes sense. Like there's a reason for everything. You're not just like, well, Bruce Lee said do this and I saw this in a movie, so that's how that works. Now you know how to fight. Get out of here, kid. It was none of that. It was all like everything was well thought out. Everything was like you like think like, well, if you go there, they might do this, so account for that. Then there was the CrossFit bit, which we both fucking hated. So we were like leaving, and like, yo, both of us were like pretty conflicted. We were like, damn, like, I don't know if I want to go back, but that guy Ken was really fucking good. But I hated that shit. But that guy Ken was really good. So the next week he happened to be doing one at Max Chen's studio. William C.C. Chen's Tai Chi Chuan studio, Max Chen's School of Dance. So we, the next week, he was doing one there with Max, and I was like, all right, but let me go to that. So we both went, and I got we sparred a little bit, got my ass kicked and everything, and I was like, yo, this is exactly what I need to be doing. I just got kicked in the head like 6 times. Like, this is where I got to be. So then after that, I started training Muay Thai and Sanda with Ken and Max. Moved around like a little bit, like still just trying to figure out like, how money worked and all that good stuff. So then I moved back in the summer of 2013. I think July of 2013. Told Ken, I was like, yeah, I want to make a run of this. I want to fight. And he was like, all right, cool. Like 2 months later, did my first Muay Thai fight.
2 months?
Yeah.
No
like,
kidding.
It was a busy 2 months, but it was 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
No kidding. Man, nice to have good genetics.
How'd that fight go?
I knocked him out in the second round.
There you go.
But it was one of those fights where it was like,
I hate you. I officially 2 months of your first fight. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Jacked and white, get over it. Wait, no, what was the quote? I'm a jacked white boy, Brock Lesnar.
Oh, really? Is that
Yeah,
it?
I'm a jacked white boy, get over it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
But for the record, I'm not on that like steroids like he is. Just,
No, no. And no sword either, right? sword tattoo?
No, not yet.
Think in the future, maybe a sword tattoo?
Maybe. You have to take a lot of, like, people always like, I expect you to have a lot of tattoos, but you have to just take so much time off training.
Oh, yeah, no, actually, that's true. It's one of my friends said the guys who have the most tattoos are generally the ones who lose because they take so much time off training to get the tattoos.
Why do you take time?
I'm sorry?
Why you got to take time?
Because if you roll and you train with the tattoo on,
You can
it'll
still train
get
other
infected.
stuff, right?
I think you can't even sweat for a while with it. Although I'm not sure. I
mean,
think they give you a time where you can't like actually do anything.
I have one tattoo on my thumb, and the whole time, I don't know if you recall, but the time it was healing up, they were like, yeah, you should take 2 weeks off the gym. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. So instead, I just put like a creepy rubber glove on.
Yeah.
And
I know you for that.
I was because I remember like the
Yeah.
biggest issue was doing jujitsu with it. So I put on this creepy rubber glove, and I put an MMA glove on over that, and I would be rolling with people, and they'd like look at me, and then they'd look at the glove, and they'd be like,
You're a big Michael Jackson fan.
no, it's like a latex glove. They were like, "What's that for?" And I'm like, oh, "Don't worry about it." And they're like, "Wait, what?" Nobody wanted
Where's that
to
hand
roll.
going?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, don't worry about it, man. It'll be fine.
Check the oil.
It's totally fine.
As long as you don't look at each other, it's okay.
Yeah. No, I need the eye contact.
Oh
The
my
Harassment
God.
Culture Podcast.
There you go.
Oh, this is terrible.
But yeah, looking back on that first fight, looking back on like any of your early fights are horrifying, but looking back on that first fight, I did not know the rules at all. Like I didn't watch Muay Thai. I only watched like MMA, but we were doing a Muay Thai fight. I didn't own Thai shorts, so I show up to the gym the day of the fight, like all like, ready to go, but I had basketball shorts, and Ken's like, "What? No. Like, just take these shorts." So I still have those. My first, they were like bright purple, and I was like, "This is excellent," because the only thing worse than getting your ass kicked is getting your ass kicked by a guy in bright purple shorts. And I remember that fight. Like at the time, like
So in Muay Thai, you have to wear Muay Thai shorts.
no, but it just you don't want to be
You wear
the guy in basketball shorts. I was fine with it, but Ken was like, "Get it together. What are you doing?"
What team with the basketball? Is it generic basketball shorts?
They were just black basketball
Okay.
shorts. Yeah,
just wanted to know.
That's actually a really good point. Yeah,
If it was like a certain team, it'd be okay.
wear net shorts and get the shit beat out of you.
Just walking down the street.
And then you had a very successful career or amateur only career in Thai boxing and kickboxing, and I know you fought in Madison Square Garden and won that fight, and then you came to train with me, and then we had our first MMA fight. When was our first MMA fight? A year ago?
About
a year ago. Yeah. And it was fantastic. You actually had the best quote after a fight that I've ever heard. so Yorrick's old opponent went into some legal trouble, and Yorrick said, "I punched this guy into a life of crime."
my friend was supposed to fight him. Like another guy I met on that card. And he was like, "Hey, I'm supposed to fight the same guy you fought. Any insight?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, like, do this, and this, and you'll be fine." And so after the fight, I was like, "Oh man, I wonder how that went." So I hit him up. He's like, "Oh yeah, it didn't happen. He got arrested." I was like, "What? I've heard of crazier though. My one friend was telling me his opponent got arrested on the way to the venue.
Oh, no kidding. That's terrible.
I was like, snap.
You should
Again,
let him fight and then arrest him.
Yeah, right. I'm the like stand by the ring on the way out. Like, all right, come with us.
Like in the Blues Brothers when all the the cops are coming in. Remember the Blues Brothers, the movie? No? Oh, You should watch it. It's a good
The
movie.
remake or the original?
No, the original.
No.
The fighting remake is going to be called The Bruise Brothers.
The Bruise.
The Bruise. Oh,
I got you.
Does
I
it
wrote.
star
I,
Nick
I
Diaz
stayed
and
up.
the Diaz brothers?
Stayed up all night writing puns just for this.
Wonderful.
Wow.
So then, yeah, and what did you find the most difficult in your transition from striking into MMA? What do you
God.
personally find?
All right, so I don't know if you.
And
knew
then what do you
this.
find the easiest? Like what I'm just curious.
Early on, the biggest transition was just going from being good at something to being absolute trash at something. Every day, and again, like I didn't have one of those like I didn't start jujitsu and then go like I'll go like 3 days a week and just go like strike the rest of the time so I can feel cool. Like I went 6 days a week like off the rip. So every single day for the first 2 to 3 months on the way there, I was like, oh my God, why am I going here right now? Why I'm going to go and somebody who weighs 60 pounds is going to sit on my chest and punch me in the face and I'm not going to know what to do. Like I just had no idea how to move on the ground. Like I remember at points like, I want to say it was Tebow. Yeah. Shout outs Tebow. One time, the very first couple classes, we used to do the boxing glove drill where somebody's in guard and you're like, yeah, Tebow's going to punch you. I'm like, yeah, it'll be fine. I've been punched before. I was on the ground, fucking clipped me, and I was like, oh no, this is different. Yeah. Like just again, the first like 2 to 3 months was just, I had to like force myself to go. And then after that, like you start to get these little successes and the thing that you've been drilling for the past 2 to 3 months suddenly works. And then it works more and more and more. And then you start to love it. But honestly, like everybody I tell who like going from striking, like, yeah, I might try jujitsu. I'm like, yo, you're going to hate it, but just go. And then you'll love it. But force yourself to go.
That is so true. I was lucky because I went from karate and striking to judo. And then from
karate man, huh?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I know, right? Wow, 17 years of
I'm gonna
straight
brag.
training.
Did a whole month of karate lessons by mail. So,
So we're 17 years, 1 month. It's kind of the same thing,
yeah, right.
It's the same word,
Fight right now.
Oh, he would crush me in strike. I mean, it's not
Crane kicks only.
Yorrick is so good at striking; it's like crazy. But I had to break out the evil stuff if I could fight him.
There's evil stuff.
He's gonna headbutt me.
Headbutt, yes, exactly.
Headbutt me right in the nuts.
No, I like when I fight strikers who are way better than me. I have certain things like you have to do what they don't expect, and what is like illegal to them is very important. Chael Sonnen did say that once. Is like you're fighting a guy, always focus on what's illegal to them, and that's always when I'm fighting a striker who's much better. It's like I will never strike in a way you expect because then I'll lose. And I'm not very fast either now with my leg injury. But anyway, this is getting off topic. But no, like
the off topic culture.
But
Play it, Miles.
No, but I went from karate to judo, which still kind of sucked, but it's like I think it's an easier transition. And then the hardest transition for me was definitely from being a submission fighter in Japan. And then being a submission fighter in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and showing, that you have to put the white belt back on again. And then, my very first day when I trained with the Machados in California, I was going with this guy, Ryan, and who was, shout out to Ryan. He's the coolest guy ever because he didn't smoke me. He played to my level, complimented me, but also showed me exactly what I was doing wrong. Kind of like what you had with Ken, where he's like, I'm not going to crush you because that's not going to show anything. What I'm going to do is show you, I'm going to beat you. I'm get you to the point where I beat you, but then I'm going to let you go like a catch and release and then show you what you're doing wrong and explain to me what difference was. And so I had a good transition. I was very lucky, but I see that a lot of times strikers who come to jiu-jitsu, it's very hard for them to just suck again. And, it's very hard. It's very hard. And I think but that's true for everybody. I think, but from striking to jiu-jitsu is the hardest transition. It's definitely the hardest.
It was, I'm not gonna, I was definitely getting smoked, but, it was like, the biggest issue. Cause again, I don't like, I always kind of like bring that learning mentality. Like I'm happy to learn from everybody, even if like, I beat you up 9 ways out of 10, but you have that 1 way out of 10 that's like, what you do great. I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you teach me that because I want to get better. But just, again, having somebody sit on your chest and punch you in the face and just being like, yo, I don't even know, bro. Like, I got nothing. Just keep going, I guess. Like, that was rough. But yeah, again, past that, again, like, I find jiu-jitsu, like, now I find, like, jiu-jitsu has, like, a great level of, like, a great struggle to reward ratio. Like, you work really hard and then you get a little success. And you work really hard and you get a little success. It's like, it's a little addicting because of that. So I think if you force yourself through those first 2 months of just being just confused and getting hit in the head, it's much easier off that. And like also like it's hard to like sail off attributes like in striking. If you're like you just have good timing and you're very fast and you're very strong, you can just blitz people and just not have to like really develop fundamentals. But like if you're starting in a bad position in jiu-jitsu and like you don't know any mount escapes or anything like that, you can fly around all day and that 60-pound person's still going to hold you down and punch you in the face for 2 months.
I would shout out to my student Dana. Dana is 105 pounds. And I see guys and they roll with her and they're like, there's no way this girl can tap me out. And then when they do, it's like their world is destroyed. And either they come back and they're like completely addicted or they'll never come back. That's why I love to put them with like Dana or someone who's much more Jeff Gelman is one of my students. He's a chess champion. He's from MIT and I know Jeff listens. So I'm, always very proud of him. Jeff is 130 pounds with his gi on and he's very tall and skinny. He has these big glasses. He's looked like an MIT graduate who's an inventor and would exactly look like. And then he's shaking his head. He's nice. He's like, yeah, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. And he rolls with you. And then he is evil. Just pure evil all over you, just tapping you out. And unfortunately, he's coming back from a lot of injuries. But when guys roll with him who are like 250, and we had these 2 guys from West Point who the Palladino brothers, they're now deployed. And I shout out to them. I know they listen too. But I know they're the reason they joined. They're like, I'm like, spar that little guy over there. And they're like, what? That guy? I'm like, no, 100% spar him. And then, they're like, after that, they're like, how can I join this academy? But, I think, you do have to get through those moments where it's just, you lose, and you have to invest in your loss. You have to invest in that loss as a tool for learning, versus like getting your ego all wrapped up. It's very hard to do that. But what did you find the easiest in terms of transitioning to MMA? What's we're not the hardest, but what's the easiest?
It's really fun hitting people who can't strike. Like once you, I will say also with the Sanda background, where I think a lot of like just pure strikers struggle is that the takedown is there now. So especially in Muay Thai, you can't come in that upright stance, but you've had to check leg kicks. But I never had that. I always stood in a pretty long stance because again, I like moving around. But in that tall stance where you can check leg kicks, your hips are out there. You're getting put on your ass over and over again. But again, from the Sanda background, just the way I like to strike even in Muay Thai, it kind of prepared me to like work with the takedown a little more.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, like always just like, one thing Max always like really like hammered into my head was like finding the perfect range. Like you're not jumping in too far to make punches. You're not too far away to make punches. You know exactly where your reach is. And I think that was very helpful as well. Like, know exactly when you can reach them with the jab. And again, like, once you like eliminate the takedown and force them to strike with you, it's much easier.
Yeah.
Much easier.
Yeah. And so do you have any questions for him about his journey?
Nothing yet.
No?
I'm just scared.
For what?
It sounds dangerous.
He is dangerous, but he's also a very nice guy.
The trick is to sneak up on me and spinning hook kick me in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Well, no, even that didn't
Teach me
work.
how to do that?
That didn't work either.
Sure, you come to the academy.
All right,
right?
I'll be there tomorrow.
But I have to say this is a wonderful thing that I learned from you, and I'm inspired by you. And it's that you come to the academy, and this is, I think, a success as the listeners out there. It's like, how do you get over those humps? So you come to the academy with a joyful attitude. And, every time you walk into my academy, I think it just brightens up a little bit, like this, you're always about bringing the positivity and bringing the joyfulness. And even when you're losing, like, it's like Yorrick actually put up a highlight video, and, a lot of guys put up the highlight video when they're doing like their best. But it's very funny. It's a very funny video. Maybe we can play it on the channel. But it's like a lot of the points where Jason or he's like, where he's getting messed up, and he's like just making jokes about it. But finding the learning and the joy, even in defeat, is an important thing, and the positivity where you're trusting the process, not putting everything on winning that day and being the hammer only, you know. And there's a joyfulness that you have, and I think that's really important. Whether you win, whether you lose, you put the hard work in, you're coming back the next day, you know. And it's very important to do that. In terms of the last fight, I know the camp, other than a couple of the injuries and being a little sick, but I think, you know, you were talking about this, we were both talking about it. We felt that this camp was incredibly, it was like everything was clicking in place, even with those injuries, even with being sick, everything clicked into place. And like, technically, I have not seen you look this good, whether striking, stand-up grappling, ground grappling. And the wonderful thing is, in the fight, you hit some beautiful judo throws, which it's funny that, you know, it wasn't something that he practiced for the fight specifically, but it's just part of our general training. Mm-hmm. And he just, I mean, God, I was like, whoa, judo throws, three beautiful judo throws. And so, but just how do you prepare for the fight? How did you see yourself going through the camps? What was the challenge? And then talk us through the fight as well.
Well, again, just to give some background, supposed to fight in March of this year. The week before, I got a deep cut on my head, had to get a bunch of staples, couldn't fight. Supposed to fight again in July or August.
July, yeah.
I got a wild infection in my foot, was in the hospital for like half a week. Again, couldn't fight. But those were like, again, like in like the last like stages of camp. So I'd already put in like 2 very hard camps. So this one, I was like, all right, well, let's again, like going back to like taking your losses and just like learning from them. You know, sometimes your foot gets infected. Sometimes Chuck sits on your head for a whole round. You know, it's what it is. You got to learn from it. That's life. So again, I was like, all right, well, I didn't get a fight that I could learn from, but I could very much learn from how the camp went. So in this one, the biggest thing that I decided to do was just kind of like look out and take care of myself as a person, and just make sure that I was as happy as possible going through this. I was like mentally in a good place the whole time going through this. Shout outs to Dr. Frank from Counter-Strike, because he sent me a lot of like great reading material on this. He kind of like hammered this into my head. But one of the biggest things that, and it's scary to do, was I rested just a little bit more. And that made somehow like eons of difference. Like, it wasn't even that much. I would maybe do like one less, or like just one easier workout per week. It didn't have to be that much, but just my whole like fighting career up until that point, it was like, you work out as much as you possibly, you train as much as you possibly can. You throw everything you have at this, and then when you're tired, you go more. And that was always what it was. I think that's good at a point.
At a certain point, I agree with you. I think there's a point for like the wrestler's mentality, which is like you push past the red zone and you grind. But
I think once you know you have that and you have that capability,
you got to tone it back.
Yeah, it's like hard sparring, right? Really, really hard sparring. I think it's good early on when you're like, yo, I don't know how this guy's going to do when he gets punched in the face really hard. I don't know how this guy's going to do when there's pressure on him. But once you know that you can handle that and you know that you can respond to that well, I do think it's like good to do that periodically, just to like, you know, stay sharp and everything like that. And I will, like, again, still, you know, I'll be like, oh man, I should rest today, but also like, you know, don't be a pussy, then just go. So I'll find that at times and I'll push myself to go. But like, I think you just had like, I just kept an eye on like the overall picture of everything. And again, realizing that recovery is a big part of the process. So stress, you train hard, you get tired as fuck, you recover. The recovery is part of that. That's how you get stronger, right?
Yeah.
So again, like going into this, like my mental game fell sharper, my striking fell sharper, my jiu-jitsu fell sharper. At that point, as well, something wild happened at the end of this fight where my opponent pulled out the Thursday or Friday before the fight.
Yeah. The thing is, like, the promoter and I were kind of like thinking that might happen, so we already had the other guy in the wings.
Oh, that okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you're right. I mean, it was not the opponent that we had expected.
Yeah. But again, at that point, like the way I felt going into it, I was just so happy with the whole process. I was happy with the whole camp. Like, this is the first camp I've ever had where I wasn't like second guessing why I put myself through this, you know? And I think that like really, really showed in the fight. I was happy to like go through the whole camp. I was happy to like, you know, it was weird. I was even happy to like be cutting weight, which is absolutely insane if you've ever cut weight.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I can't wait to step on a scale, eat some food. It's going to be great. I was happy to be there at the venue. I was happy to be walking out. I was happy to be fighting. Like, you know, this, I think all that kind of like freed my mind up to just do what I do, right? Just like, let myself express myself, let myself like let my technique go.
Yeah, and it was like, you know, I we had a discussion at this, but the fight, there was just some really moments of just absolute artistry in that fight. And you know, we've had, it's funny because you would look at your previous opponents and you wouldn't think that they were that good, but both your opponents you fought, the first guy was a very good grappler. He really was. Like, and shout out to him. Shit, I forgot his name, but he was AJ Abate. Right, you're right. And
it's pronounced Abate, which
Abate. Oh, I'm sorry.
Threw me off as well.
Sorry,
I thought
I'm
it was
sorry.
Abate.
Sorry. Yeah.
You actually see in the video.
wrong.
You actually see in the video of the fight. They're like AJ Abate, and I was like, Abate, what? But whatever. Yeah, moving on.
Sorry.
Shout
Yeah,
out to
no.
AJ.
Sorry, AJ. Yeah, no. And he was a very, very skilled guy. And then the current guy what's his name again?
Sam Doherty. Super nice guy.
Yeah,
Doherty.
And also very, very overall had a really, really strong MMA base. So he was competent, very competent at striking, very competent at takedowns, very competent on the ground. You could just see that he knew what he was doing. He was very prepared, and you know, really good fighter. And you know, you just respect to your opponents, but you just chewed him to pieces. And it was, you know, like we were talking about wood chipping, like you chipped away every single round until, you know, the end. And you had we had 2 rear naked chokes, right? At one point, right? You had one, and then the bell rang, and then you had another one. If you had like, you know, 10 more seconds, we would have probably finished that fight completely. But it was in the striking, I was very impressed. You were trying to get in the zone, and you're constantly maintaining that distance, kicking him, and it was artistry. You were expressing yourself as an artist, and I think, you know, Bruce Lee said, you know, like you said, it's like you're using martial arts as a tool of self-expression, and that's, yeah, of course. There's the combative element, and we never want to lose touch with that. But at the same time, you want to draw from all those colors. You want to find your own style. You want to find your artistry. You want people to go, "Whoa, that was pretty cool." And you know, you're the only fighter that I've ever seen use the Hadoken in a real fight. The double punch, right? You've actually used that live in a fight. I never thought that would actually happen.
Again, I've said it before. I say it again. You can't block both. What are you gonna do?
I thought it was like you'd never work, but it really does.
Wow!
And so that's fantastic. And how did you feel in the fight? Did you feel like any moment? Like I know we talked about in between the corners. What was your mindset as the fight started?
Honestly, the biggest thing I felt was just really happy to be there, especially after the way the 2 camps went earlier that year. And again, if I wanted to, like, you know, be a billionaire, I would not be doing this. I'm doing this because I want to enjoy my lifestyle. So I very much took a look at that, and I was like, all right, let me just enjoy every bit of this process. And like some of the happiest moments I've had were just, you know, training. If I had $1 billion, I was like, honest with myself, right. I would just train every day. Yeah. And again, like I like fighting as well. Like, you know, like right before we went out there, like, you know, you get like the pre-fight nerves. I'm not going to say that those don't exist. You just kind of learn to like operate with them, right? They're never not going to be there. But before I was going out with this one, I was just like again, I was not facing much adversity in that fight, but I went out. I was like, yo, we're about to punch each other in the face so much. This is going to be great. Like, you know, just I was ready for a brawl, and I was happy about that. But then going out there again, like you're not like I wasn't thinking about anything. I wasn't like, you know, like trying to make anything work. Just again reacting, listening to you guys, and like a lot of times as well. I remember we spoke after where you said I was reacting well to what Max was saying and not so much what you were saying. But again, when I went back and looked at the fight with audio, there were things that you called out that I don't even remember hearing. Like the judo throw, for instance. I had him in the position, and I hear you go, 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 and right away like hit that throw. And again, that's not a throw that we worked on a lot for this fight. It's just something that we like drill regularly. Yeah. And again, like just being able to automatically hear you guys automatically react without having to like process the thought so much. Like that's what makes like, what I enjoy about fighting is kind of letting your mind go, not thinking about anything, and just kind of existing in that moment. And wonderful. Kicking people in the face, most especially.
Yes, you kicked him in the face a lot. And between rounds, what was going through your head in between the corners and the rounds? Like as the fight progressed?
Well, I will say you and Max had great synergy. Again, the lethal weapon moment where you decided to be best buds, and take down German terrorists or whatever.
South African terrorist, wasn't it?
I don't
the first
remember.
movie.
I'm thinking Die Hard.
Oh no, that's the second. The second movie. Right?
Hans Gruber.
No,
that's Die Hard.
Yeah, Die Hard. We're thinking Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon.
The second Lethal Weapon
Were they
was
South African?
They were South African. The
With
second Lethal Weapon.
and the
the
shipping containers and all
yeah,
that.
and he goes,
Yeah. He did
I have
jujitsu in that one.
diplomatic immunity, and then he was like, "I'll give you diplomatic immunity." No, right. Well, the first one was like the Vietnam Special Forces guys, right, who went bad and sold drugs, and the second one was the South African Krugerrand smugglers or something.
This just goes back to me.
Right,
really,
wasn't that?
I really
Been a long
want
time.
you to grow a mullet.
A mullet.
Yeah, I feel like it's necessary.
That would look good, I think.
Right?
A
It really
mullet?
would.
No.
And it makes you better at karate. It's a known fact.
Yeah, it's known fact. You can
The
Get
Lethal
a
Weapon
clip-on
Culture
mullet.
Podcast.
Clip-on mullet. We'll just try it
clip
out.
on mullet. That
See
should
what
be
it looks
my
like.
next year's Halloween costume. A karate guy with a mullet.
Here goes Mel Gibson.
I'll go Mel. Yeah, was that a mullet or was that 80s like that blowout?
That was a
Was that
pretty
Patrick
hardcore
Swayze?
mullet.
No, but okay. So is a mullet just the back or is it the whole thing?
It's ooh.
Because like when I say mullet, I think shaved head and the back.
I think it's just anything that's just that kind of long in the back.
It was
in
on
the
the
back.
cusp, at least.
Well,
It was on the cusp of being.
I
right. It was-
had hair that long in the 80s.
it was mullet
I'll just let
adjacent.
you guys know that in the 80s.
Did you have a mullet?
It was getting there.
Nice.
It was getting there. It was pretty low. It was pretty thick in the
We need-
back.
we need pictures.
Party in the back.
The Mullet Culture Podcast.
Business in the front, party in the back.
Karate in the front. Karate in the back.
Karate in the front,
The
karate in the back.
advertising rights itself. Can we change this?
No, you ever watch Walking Dead? The character Eugene, he has the the short haircut and the mullet in the back.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I always thought was a mullet. I didn't think of the Mel Gibson as the mullet. I thought that was just that blowout. I guess it is
pretty
though.
mullety.
That's pretty mullety.
It's not good.
It's not good.
Whatever it is.
I think he looked good. I
You
mean,
think Mel Gibson?
Yeah, he looked good in the 80s.
For the 80s. Like if you transported
No, but
Mel
the
Gibson
best,
from
the best
the 80s.
Mel Gibson is Road Warrior Mel Gibson. There's no question. That's
yeah.
pre-racist.
Big facts.
Alcoholism Mel Gibson.
Pre-racist.
Australian Mel Gibson as opposed to American Mel Gibson.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, anyway. Yeah. Shout out to Mel Gibson.
Shout out to Mel Gibson.
Getting too
No, that was the
political.
first time I ever saw a triangle choke on and the
He did it in jeans, too.
in jeans.
In jeans.
I wonder if those are those Chuck Norris jeans.
The karate jeans?
The karate jeans,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Even growing up not in the 80s, I definitely wanted karate jeans. when I was
You
growing
know,
up.
it's funny, but I buy from
The Uniqlo.
No, I buy from
really?
American Eagle, but the same thing. They're super stretch, so that
Yeah.
I can kick with them. And
Yo,
then, and this is actually the shoes I'm wearing right now are a weapon. Like so, these shoes I always want to talk about this. So these are construction shoes, but they're sneakers. Here, let me show you.
Steel toe?
Yeah, but they have a steel toe. Like here, feel it.
Oh, snap.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought you were going to stomp and a knife
No,
was
no.
going to come out
Yeah.
the toe.
Oh man, that would be so cool.
I'd be stabbing myself a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah,
just
anytime
like-
I buy
just like
pants,
that-
I'm
that-
like
that-
throwing kicks in the changing rooms. And
Yeah,
stuff.
no, you have to. You have to
Yo,
like be
are you-
prepared.
Are you okay? Like, I'm good. I'm just being ready.
No,
I think you need to move out of New York City. You've been here too long.
Yeah, I feel you.
You're walking around with steel-toed boots.
Yeah, just going to head kick people.
and quite. And I
It's
always
not the 80s anymore.
It's not-
Chuck
you
Norris
know, I'm
action
kind of
sucks.
like, it's funny you should say that, but I'm like, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than gardener in war. It's better to be prepared.
And
You
it's-
never know. You never know.
And regardless of the situation, it's always better to have action slacks,
Action slacks.
which is the actual name of the Chuck Norris karate pants.
And you know what? I like the one that he had with the American flag on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I really want.
Think anybody wants a roundhouse to the face when wearing these bad boys? Forget about it.
And again, everybody was cool in the 80s because Chuck Norris was cool in the 80s, not like, conspiracy theory Chuck Norris today. Yes.
And he,
He's like crazy.
I don't recall his
He's like-
mullet.
yeah. Oh, now that was a true mullet.
Yeah. And the shoulder hair on that man, let me tell you. That's how I knew he was about the business. As soon as I saw that shoulder hair, I was like, nobody disrespects
Glistening
this
in
guy.
the sun as the
Yeah,
sweat
yeah,
beads
yeah,
up
yeah.
on his back.
What a man.
There's something about there's something about that scene with him and Bruce Lee in the Coliseum.
That is a very good scene.
That's a good scene.
With the kitten.
The kitten?
You don't remember that?
There's a kitten.
There's like a random kitten in it, and then it like does this weird meow, and then they start like beating each other up.
Oh my god,
It's
you're
real
right.
tense, and this kitten's like, eh. And they're like, all right, the ref said go.
I gotta watch that again.
Yeah.
But
Anyway.
yeah.
And then so you complete dominated him. finished the fight, and then how do you feel now? I mean, like, how do you feel at that moment with victory? And
fighting's always weird because again, I have to like I get in such like a going back to like just how everything was between rounds. I'm in such like a present mindset that like there could be like a plane crashing into the arena and I'd be like, cool. But what were you saying about how I'm beating this guy? Like, you know, you get very focused on that. So again, like after everything comes, again, going before it, I'm like, oh my God, as soon as I get through this fight, I'm going to be so happy. I'm going to just go eat like 9 boxes of Oreos. Not that I didn't eat 9 boxes of Oreos, I guess I did, but I was like, oh my God, as soon as this is done, everything's going to be right in the world. I'm just going to feel better about stuff. And going into this one, like, again, I felt like way better going into this one. I didn't have those thoughts as much, but like, after the win, I was like very much like, okay, when are we back in the gym? When are we doing the next one? Like, ready to go again.
So when is the next one?
February.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You notice I said it correctly.
Yeah, unfortunately, because he kicked the guy a number of times, and he had some damage to his foot. Because so we're just letting that heal, and hopefully it's not a big deal, and then we can get back to business. And we're really just focusing on technique now, because the thing is, it's like I was just talking about this before when you're on the Predator. You don't want to be like full sparring too much. Because when you spar too much, you don't practice, you don't refine, you don't flow, and then you just get a little wonky in your movement. And the less clean your movement is, the less efficient you are, and the more tired and the more you get, and the more openings you get to be countered. And the cleanliness of your movement is everything. So you want to stay clean, and so right now we're just focusing on technique and taking it easy and just enjoying learning new stuff. And we're just working a couple leg locks today. And not on his bad leg, and just learning, adding to the skills, and just letting him heal up, and also being around. A lot of people don't understand this, but when you're injured, you should still go to the gym. You should just go and help your instructor out teaching, or just help coach, or like Drew, one of the students. Yeah, he's a little injured now. And but he's always there when he can, helping to teach.
You just want free labor.
It's all about that exploitation.
Drew needs to get back to training though. He grew a mustache.
I know, right?
Like
for
so
Movember.
That's what that is.
Yeah, you should see Philip. Philip looks like he's like on the step of a Mongol invasion of China. Like his all the hair on his face is like, and he's still such a little baby face, and then he has all this hair on him. I'm like, you look like some barbarian out of Genghis Khan's like nomadic war tribe. But everybody should shave in November. This is
I like I have the beard and mustache year round.
Yes,
it's a lifestyle. It's not just a month choice.
Do you use stuff on your beard?
I use coconut oil, and that's it.
And we have coconut oil in the gym.
Makes it very lush and soft. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Smells good too.
It does. Like the last thing you want to do
makes you slippery when people are trying to choke you. Just
but it's funny. I had this training partner, and he would not shower for weeks before his fight. He would, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm training with you. This is real dedication as your friend, because you just reek. He's like, no. I'm just getting ready, a little ripe for Saturday. I'm like, this is terrible. And then his beard would smell so bad because he would have little bits of food in it. It was just awful.
That is heavy unnecessary.
How is that not illegal?
It's not illegal.
I will say probably illegal. The last thing, well, maybe I've never found anybody that smelled that bad, but like the last thing while I'm getting punched in the head is like, well, this guy does not smell like lavender. What is this? The nerve of this guy.
Rolling with, there's a couple girls in the academy, and they really take care of their hygiene, and it's very nice, because you're like, I wish everybody smelled like this, And I even got a thing. I asked Dana what she uses, like, for her hand wash and stuff. So I used it. So I'm like, wow, this is really good. Everybody should use it. It's this cucumber melon. It's cucumber melon hand wash. So
I smell like coconuts and sunshine.
You
wow.
Yeah.
Coconuts and sunshine.
Yeah. Hope.
Hope you smell like
the Great White Hope, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Here he is.
So we got the fight coming up in February, and Matt, if you wouldn't mind, I would love to have him on again before the fight or after the fight.
We'll see how this episode does. The last one did really well, so
I'm gonna kill it. I'm gonna let you know I'm very popular on that.
Okay, all right, we'll see. No, for sure, 100%.
Right. And
where's the next fight?
It's in mid-February. I don't know exact date. Oh, it'd be Massachusetts. in same place.
Maybe we should.
Yeah.
Maybe I should travel up there and we could do a podcast on.
Oh my
site.
God,
We'll
that
do
would be
it-
great.
We'll do it between rounds. That'd be
fun.
great. I'll be like, it's going great.
No, we have the video set up so it can get you like a press pass and because G had a girl come in, she had a press pass, so you can come into the back and film, and it'd be great.
That'd be fun.
wonderful. Yeah.
Excellent.
Anyway, thank you so much for making time to be on, and anything to say out to your fans, your coaches, or anything we want to end the podcast with.
Yeah, well, just want to say again, I tried to say this after the fight, but I forgot to breathe in. So I was just like, well, great to be here. Thanks, everybody. So again, fighting's going to be what fighting's going to be. Like it's a wild sport. Anything could happen. You could get a hole in your head or AIDS in your foot. So again, things happen, but I very much just want to thank everybody that makes this like such an enjoyable lifestyle. This is what I want to do. This is what I love doing. So again, thank you to you for teaching me all that floor karate and inspiring me to grow a mullet. Actually, I do want to bring up that me and Rene made a bet that after I won this fight, he said if I win this fight, but I definitely won it. So he has to go to my barbershop with me and get a haircut of my choice. You can't see, but I have a very, very nice fade. This is a few days old. So normally it's much nicer. So I might
absolutely let's do
probably get a fade, but I feel like we should get some cool lines in there or something.
Oh,
You know, it is a haircut of your choice. That was the agreement.
Do some lines in the eyebrows too.
Man, really? No, not in the eyebrows. But this is
I'm not talking shit about your eyebrows, but they're a little thin. I wouldn't put.
They're a
lines
little
in those.
thin?
Yeah, don't worry. They told me the same thing.
My
They're like, all right, Vanilla Iced, freaking relax. But again, big thank you to Coach Ken and Max Chen, Dr. Steve for working on my foot so I can get back to kicking people in the face. Dr. Frank from Counter-Strike.
Well, who is Dr. Frank?
Dr. Frank, he did like my weight cut and he does a lot of my strength and conditioning.
And he's a nutritionist and strength.
He's a nutritionist, and like one of the biggest things that he did for me, again, like from Counter-Strike, was he included like he put me on just reading sports psychology books. Because like a big thing, like they say in like any sport, they're like, sports are 90% mental, 10% physical, and you're like, okay, cool, bet, that's cool, and they're like, cool, so just go to the gym 100% of the time and never work on the mental stuff. And if you ever bring out the mental stuff, they're like, oh yeah, to fix that, you should just stop being a pussy, and you're like, oh great, thanks, yeah. So again, there's no like, it's not talked about enough, and so like just knowing that the information's out there and knowing that like there's just strategies and tactics to work on it. That helped me a lot. That's, again, like especially like he had me read his book, Peak Performance, which I would recommend to everybody if you're like just trying to be good at stuff. Read that, follow that. That helped me a lot.
That's a great book. Yeah.
Thanks to all my training partners. Love y'all. Please help me convince Rene to grow a mullet.
Comment on the podcast. Can you Rene grow a mullet
No.
by February?
I feel like we need to start like a social
No,
media.
BC, my
Hashtag Rene mullet.
Rene mullet. Love it. A radical mullet.
Radical mullet.
what did I get myself into?
You got yourself into a glorious haircut.
Okay, all right. Well, we are going to the barber for sure.
Yes.
We're going to do
all
that.
Right. Shout out Brooklyn Blends for this immaculate fade.
Brooklyn Blends.
Yeah.
Blends? Like
Blends.
With a Z?
Like not with a Z, but like a fade or a blend.
That would
like
have been cool if there was a Z at the end of 7S.
I'll speak to him about that.
Yeah, see if we can get that fixed.
My man
Appreciate
Elvin
that.
at the shop. Shout out
Elvin
too. Elvin's the owner.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Does nice.
When
fades.
people have the
He'll
name
do the
Elvin,
cool lines. So.
Whenever people have the name Elvin, I know it's a Latino name, but I always think of like The Hobbit and elves and.
Oh no, he's from
Middle
Earth.
Yeah.
He's from Middle Earth.
Shoots arrows at people. But he does the designs and stuff. So like when we get a cool design in the back of your head, like the Radical logo, he'll be doing that.
I can't wait to see it.
It's gonna be pretty bitchin'.
I don't remember agreeing to that exactly.
You did. Roll the tape back, Miles.
Where's Raul?
Also, shout out everybody in the Philippines.
Oh yes, thank you, and Israel too. Now we're like really high
Israel
on the
too. That's what's up.
Israel,
Singapore
ranks.
still,
and Singapore.
moving up.
Yes, I'm really happy that people are listening. And Stuart Tomlinson said that he was on a plane with his friend had contacted him. His friend was on a plane, and he said, "I was listening to this podcast I love, and then you just came on it." And he's like, "Oh, this is great." So shout out to all the people in Europe too who are listening to us as well. Like really growing, and thank you. And again, if you could write a positive review, rate us on iTunes.
If we get 5 new reviews before the end of the year on iTunes, Rene will grow a mullet.
Yo, done.
What?
Yes.
What?
That's
Yes.
100%.
Okay,
If we
the
get
two of us-
10, I will grow into. I'm almost there.
If it's 15, I'll bring the mohawk mullet back that I had.
Wow.
So that was pretty.
It's on
glorious.
tape. You heard it.
It's on tape. All right.
You can't go back.
Mohawk.
All right. Save your likes and reviews for after that.
January. I'm going to make 5 new accounts on iTunes.
Yeah.
You're in trouble.
All right, guys. Thank you
Thanks.
again. No, thanks to all
Thanks,
the
Yorrick,
listeners.
for coming in.
Yeah,
Thank you guys for having
Best
me.
of luck in the
If you want
future.
to follow me, Hidden People, at Yorrick MMA on Instagram, I'm there with no shirt and jumping around in shorts. You can follow me, and I'll post when I'm back on this podcast.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you again.
Thanks.
The mullet. Os.